I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how fast you are. I can see the future. You don't live to see tomorrow.
Destroy everything in your path! Make them fear! Invincible! You think I'm gonna give you a chance to surrender? I am having the time of my life here!
Alright y'all, peep game. Invincible is back for its 3rd season, and it's had the streets on lock from back-to-back episodes of straight bangers. Everything's been heating up since the start of the season, from Mark taking on the US government, to Oliver turning niggas into donuts, and Omni-Man and Lloyd in space breaking out of intergalactic lockdown with Scar from the Lion King. Needless to say, this season has been going insane. And even though the animation could be better, let's be real, we didn't come for the animation, bruh. We came for straight hands. And this latest episode is nothing short of a full-on battle royale. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at Mark, who ran a 20v1 in the Invincible War and almost lost. Nigga, this episode was so crazy, it kept me on edge from the moment it started. But if you haven't caught up already, then wake your punk ass up and go catch up and double back to this video, because I promise I'm not sparing y'all on the spoilers with this one. And before we get into it, do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another upload. And like this video if you like this video, as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. But now that all of that is out of the way, sit back, grab your shawty, grab your snacks, cause we about to go in on this one. So let's take a trip down memory lane, specifically season 2, where Mark was trapped in another dimension with probably the pettiest in all of comic history, Angstrom Levy. I think I can speak for everyone when I say that this man is probably the worst character in Invincible. More than Amber, more than Anissa, and even more than that annoying ass nigga with the trash can for a head and Powerplex himself. So when Mark off-fooled back in season 2, I felt the wave of joy come in through my chest, knowing that this man will never show up on my screen ever again. But man, was I completely wrong. Now, for obvious reasons, I have to blur out damn near all of this shit because this ain't live leak, but basically Mark turned this nigga into a pile of mush, and bruh, I'ma tell y'all now, don't make the same mistake that I did. I messed up and watched this episode while eating dinner, not knowing that I was gonna see all of this, and damn near threw up my food after looking at it. And I'm talking about good food too. If I would've ended up throwing up, I would've been livid. But Mark smokes the nigga and leaves him for dead in a deserted dimension, and it's revealed that he actually managed to survive and crawl his way into another dimension where these goonies who look like a couple of Sith Lords patched him up and saved his life. I know these niggas had to be standing over bro and thinking, how in the hell did this nigga get here with his head looking like a pile of goop scoop? I mean, Mark literally left this nigga looking like a pile of dog shit. I have no clue to this day how the hell he managed to survive this. But following his survival, we immediately shift back over to Earth, where multiple portals open up to unleash damn near 100 different versions of Invincible from alternate universes who wreak havoc throughout the planet and kick off the Invincible War. Day 1 starts with each Mark rampaging through different cities throughout the world and fighting these unknown heroes in the process. We got bald-headed Mark fighting a diet version of the Thing, while Viltrumite Mark is going to blows with the Wolf of Wall Street on the west side of 5th Ave. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, we got Nightwing getting walked down in the middle of Little Chinatown, while Mustache Mark is getting blasted in space by Buzz Lightyear. And while all this is happening, the original Mark finally shows up to the scene, only to find the prison he so desperately tried to protect throughout the season left in complete ruins thanks to the likes of Mohawk Mark. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, this nigga is probably the biggest fiend of them all. He's basically Mark from the universe where he was on meth and had to grow up in a trailer park shotgunning whippets while wrestling with the neighbor's pet raccoon. Basically what I'm trying to say is, the nigga doesn't give a fuck. I mean, just look at his haircut. This nigga looked like he shaved that shit with a shovel and really thought that it came out clean. And not only is the man a savage, he got the hands to back it up. He blitzes Mark with a blow straight to the gut and starts throwing him around like a rag doll until they play monkey in the middle and reach a two-way deadlock. Then Billy headbutts Mark straight in the nose and starts to choke him out, but Mark slaps this nigga in his eardrum, causing him to pass out from the pressure.
Hey, he's over there.
And who the fuck are these niggas? We got Paul Bunyan over here with this big ass mallet straight out of Looney Tunes, Clarissa Shield with the boxing gloves, and Super Crip who filled in for Superman because that nigga took the day off. They go in without wasting no time and start jumping this man Mark worse than when Omni Man got jumped by the Guardians of the Globe back in season 1. And then to make it all worse, this lame ass nigga Powerplex got freed and joined the fight just because he couldn't wait to get his lick back on Mark. And it don't matter which Mark it is, all of them can come get this smoke. But he gets dealt with pretty quickly, and we shift over to the Pentagon where the Terminators took down Flax and Mark and left this nigga looking like Angstrom Levy. Meanwhile, the Jumping League finally realize they have the wrong Mark and they let him leave to go join in the Invincible War while trying to take in Eminem alive. But little do they know, that is where they made their first mistake. Day 2 starts off with the meme Titans being teleported to different cities around the world, and Oliver joins the fray to try and minimize as many casualties as he possibly can. Meanwhile, Mark and Eve are scouting the area and they find the Jumping League jumping Shiesty Mark until he gets pissed and Hulk smashes the ground, knocking everybody out. Man, y'all niggas weak! Y'all not even a fraction of my power! Damn! I might as well call him the sneaking Mark because he snuck the shit out of old boy and even made his shiesty come off. Then him and Eve start running a two-man on this nigga like they're fighting in Jump Force, and Mark hits him with a Leaf Hurricane and sends this man flying. But just when it looks like they're starting to gain the upper hand, Omni Mark joins the battle to run a 2v2 against the Atom family. Now the sensible thing right here would have been to bang it as soon as Omni Mark showed up, but he rushes Eve before she even gets the chance to think while Mark has to deal with Mr. Shiesty. Then Omni Mark grabs Eve by her leg and breaks it like a toothpick while slamming her straight into the ground, knocking her out cold in damn near an instant. And even though Mark isn't giving up and rushes to tend to Eve, there's no way he could fight two different versions of himself while protecting Eve at the same time. It's looking like all hope is lost. But out of nowhere, a group of Terminators come in with the assist thrown by Cecil to give Mark some time to escape and get Eve to Jackson North to get her the care she needs. And while this is happening, we got No Goggles Mark being blasted all the way to King Tut's tomb. Return the slave. Oliver stepping in the paint with WWE Mark. Damn, I've been trying to crack that shit all week. Now it's your turn. Oof. Wiz Khalifa Mark fighting random superhero number 12. Yo, who the hell is this garbage ass nigga? And the Green Goblin and Jit fighting Mark from Universe 7? Yo, timeout. Who the hell hired these niggas? The GDA is just calling on anybody at this point. Nigga, they was better off calling Saul to handle this shit because you literally got two Jits stepping in to protect the Earth. And the new Guardians of the Globe? Them niggas got washed. The only ones holding their own is Soldier Boy and Batman, but they just so happen to be going against the one Mark I call Maniac Mark. I mean, I don't even think I have to bother explaining the name. He grabs Batman by the leg and slams him the same way Omni-Man slammed his daddy back in the day and tears his ACL, making sure he could never play hopscotch ever again. Then Soldier Boy rushes in and starts feeding this nigga a 3-piece and a biscuit, but take a look at the smile on my man's face. This nigga is straight up eating those shits with the biggest maniacal smile I've ever seen in my life. If I'm boxing a nigga, I'm talking about throwing straight slugs, and he starts smiling while bleeding from his mouth and tells me to keep going, yeah, I'm cooked, my nigga. And that's exactly what he does to Soldier Boy when he grabs him by the face and slams him into the ground while pinning him in place and delivering the fatality. But he's still not done. He kicks his head into the air like a soccer ball and throws it like a bowling ball to strike Duplicate straight through her stomach and have the lovers seeing eye to eye right before they die. And just when it's looking like the fight is over and everybody got smoked, Batman comes in like a thief in the night to sneak the maniac from above and send him straight to the Shadow Realm. Then we shift over to Bulletproof Mark, who has Robot by the balls and is ready to reboot this nigga's entire system. But he gets snuck by Cornrow Kenny, who acts as a distraction for the rest of the heroes to escape. But Rex says, I ain't no bitch. And he steps into the front lines and starts throwing these firecrackers like it's Independence Day and tells everyone to scram while he holds them off. Now, I don't know in what universe does this nigga think he could take on Invincible one-on-one without getting his shit wrecked. But you know what? I gotta give it to him. He's earned my respect for basically sacrificing himself so that way everyone else could live. And I ain't gonna lie, at first it was looking like my mans was about to hold his own. He was actually doing some chip damage and even used explosion style, landmine release, to land what could have been a critical blow. But he made one miscalculation. The nigga could fly. He rushes Rex and grabs him by the neck, ready to pop his head off like a panic Pete. But Rex activates explosion style, Allahu Akbar release, and blows his entire skeleton to dust, taking Bulletproof Mark with him. And that right there, my friends, is how you go out with a bang. This nigga literally pulled a Datara and took Mark with him in probably the flashiest way possible. And just when I was starting to like this man in his season 2, damn bruh. Let's take a moment of silence for my man's Rex and pay our respects to the biggest wingman in comic history. Alright, moment of silence over. Back to the hands. We take another look at the mass carnage caused by the war, where some were able to make it out alive, while others met their end. And one by one, each mark is taken out of the game after either being jumped or getting folded in an ISO fair and square. And from here, we finally enter day 3. On day 3, the planet is in complete ruins. Most of the cities throughout the world are completely destroyed, and the multiverse marks pull up to their ops crib for one last rendezvous with the one and only Brainiac. He gives them one last objective to go and find Mark and slime him out, but they weren't having it. They decide, let's just torture this nigga and feed him to our pits instead. And right before they were about to wipe his ass down, he opens up portals like he's Doctor Strange and sends every Mark straight to the gulag, sending them on the longest dry spell in history. And after closing the portals and basically signing their death certificates, Mighty Mark shows up to run the fade with Dr. Stockman and send him to hell once and for all. He effortlessly evades Mark's attacks and uses a swarm of nanobots to overwhelm him and try to send him through one of the portals. But Mark is just too quick and he's able to dodge each portal while tanking hits head on from the nanobots, and he rushes Angstrom to deliver the final blow. But Doc Ock ain't cracking. He summons a giant flood of nanobots to completely rain down on Mark and send him crashing straight into the ground. And even though he goes for it again and tries to rush towards Angstrom, he uses Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi to overpower Mark and break him down bit by bit until he falls to his knees like the law came. But Mark says, the fuck am I doing? I'm the main character. And he begins to make the biggest comeback since the Cavs against the Warriors in the 2016 finals. He slices his way through each and every nanobot until there are none left. And he's able to get the jump on Angstrom, grabbing him by the neck and finally putting him in his place.
Hurry up and put this nigga into a pack, Mark. Make sure he could never come back and pull some goofy shit like this ever again.
You're right. Any last words, fuck nigga? Yeah, just one. No! Come on, bruh. You literally had him. All you had to do was slice his head off or punch a hole through his chest or something. Why the hell would you let the nigga go? See, this why I mess with Oliver. The little nigga don't waste no time because he knows exactly how this shit goes, unlike his bum ass brother who likes to try to find the good in others and tries not to kill him. Now look, the nigga was able to escape to a whole different dimension and you basically came up empty-handed, bruh. Man, what a fucking waste. And once the boys return to the city to pick up the pieces left behind by the war, they run into booty ass Powerplex again and hold him down until he eventually runs out of power and is put into GDA custody. Yo, why do they keep letting this nigga go free? Obviously he has a huge vendetta against Invincible, so why keep putting him in the same vicinity, especially when you know some shit is bound to pop off when these two are in the same room? And even though I hate this nigga from the bottom of my heart, I do have to agree with him about one thing. All of this shit is Invincible's fault. If he would have just finished the job that he started back in season 2, none of this would have happened. And from the look on everyone's faces, I think they would all agree. And with that, the Invincible War finally comes to a close. But while Mark is trying to right the wrongs he's committed throughout the season, stand tall, bitch. I've come to finish the job your bitch ass daddy started, nigga. A new threat emerges ready to conquer the planet and destroy anyone who stands in his way. Will Mark be able to stand 10 toes against the oldest Viltrumite in history? Or will he fall and leave everyone that he loves and cares for to meet a horrifying end? Find out on the next episode of The fight starts off with both titans clashing, creating a massive shockwave that completely decimates the city, and they reach a two-way deadlock before Conquest Zoclo's Mark and slams him directly into the middle of 17th Ave. Right about now, Anissa's finance will tell you to give up and stop resisting, because you don't stand a chance in hell from stopping us from taking over this piece of shit you call home. But I want you to resist. That shit makes my dick hard when you fight back. I'm not here because they sent me on some mission to take over this planet or conquer it for the Empire. I'm here to fade, nigga. All for the love of the game. Now we can do this shit the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. The choice is yours, little nigga. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy this. Mark rushes Unc and sends him crashing through every single apartment complex in the Bronx before slamming him into the 13th floor of Peter Parker's apartment. But that shit did absolutely nothing as Conquest walks out of the rubble without a single scratch and grabs Mark by the throat, ready to send him straight to hell. But Mark wasn't having it and delivers a 3-piece combo without the biscuit and forces Conquest back to the other side of the arena. Oh shit. This little nigga got some fight in him. That was just a warm-up. Mark goes in with vicious hooks left and right, chin-checking Conquest and sending him straight into the stratosphere. He then lets him go and flies 100 yards only to double back and hit him with a falcon punch straight into outer space. Now at this point, I was watching the fight and thinking, Mark low-key beating this nigga's ass. They said in the beginning of the season that he did grow stronger by 110%, so that shit was finally starting to come out. But it's what this nigga Conquest does right here that makes me change my mind in an instant. This nigga blows a bubble made out of his own blood like he's trying to blow a kiss and takes it and forms it into a little mini heart like this shit is Valentine's Day. Nigga, even Mark is stopping to look like, what the fuck? And at that moment, I knew we were up against a crazy nigga. Conquest slams into Mark, sending him hurtling back to Earth, but luckily Mark was able to break free before crashing into the ground and opening some space between them. But Conquest doesn't even give him a moment to breathe and mollywops Mark with the hardest jab I done damn near ever seen and sends him crashing live on Fox 5. The nigga got hit so hard, he woke up and forgot he was even fighting and looks up only to find Conquest coming straight at him at Mach 9 speed. The impact goes off like a nuclear bomb, destroying everything within a 100-yard radius, and Mark gets sent back into the air only to get knocked into the next city and crash straight into a U-Haul truck. Damn, nigga, no wonder gas prices so high. Then this is where the animator spent the entire season's budget on just Mark's hair alone. Nigga, you see how that shit just flowing in the wind? I swear that's gotta be the smoothest animation we seen all season. Conquest is coming in hot, ready to put Mark into a pack. But before he gets the chance... Just chill out, Unc. You know I was playing.
Nigga, are you crazy? You think I'm about to just sit here and let you surrender? The fuck I look like? A bitch? Have some heart, little nigga. You starting to look like a little hoe. Come on, you can still win this. All you need is the right motivation. Don't run. When I'm done with you, say goodbye to everyone on this piece of shit planet, huh? Ugh!
Oliver steps in to save his brother and rushes towards Conquest, who just casually swats him away like a fly and puts him towards the top of his shit list. But Mark sneaks Conquest with a dragon kick to the face, forcing him to eat pavement, and tells Oliver to take his little badass back home before the nigga gets back up. Too little, too late. Conquest starts running towards Mark like a T-1000 and slams into him, knocking him through buildings and throwing him right into a Honda Civic that was parked in the middle of a fire lane. But Mark bites back with a headbutt straight to the face, making him drop to his knee like Kaepernick, and rushes this nigga with the most ferocious set of hands I done damn near ever seen. He punches this nigga relentlessly until he runs out of breath, and Conquest grabs his fist and says, "If this is all you got, nigga, you're cooked." He takes Mark and uses him as a battering ram to smash him through more buildings and have civilians falling out of the sky like the market just crashed. Then he slings this nigga like a rag doll and starts riding him like a skateboard like his nickname's Tony Hawk, causing him to crash straight into the 22. This nigga Conquest not letting up on Mark in the slightest. He's not like other villains who just sit there and yap and come off as a big ass capper. Nah, the nigga is really about that life. Look at what he tells Oliver after he joins back into the fight.
But thanks for coming back. I'm gonna split you in half and eat your heart. How's that sound?
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
And you would think, ain't no way, dog. This nigga is over exaggerating. Well, guess what he decides to do? He proceeds to slap the shit out of Mark, knock the piss out of Oliver and make his veneers come out, and grab the little nigga by the head and feet and literally rip his ass in half. The nigga was dead ass serious, dog. And the worst part is, he's just enjoying that shit. Like there's some sort of prize inside he gets if he rips the boy in half. Luckily, Mark steps in to save him, but I know that little nigga gotta be scarred for life after going through some shit like that. And while he gets saved by Cecil, Mark is getting surfed on like his nickname's Big Z and taken to Miami Beach, where everybody's outside like the world wasn't just about to come to an end about 3 days ago. And we zoom in on Fine Shit, who sees Mark coming straight at her, and instantly everybody on the beach gets clapped, and Conquest does Mark the same way Omni Man did him back in their fight in Chicago. And the nigga isn't sparing anybody, not even babies. But Mark says, "Man, that's enough, hoe ass nigga," and pulls a reversal to free himself and punch Conquest straight into this random disc that forms in the air. That could only belong to one person. Adam Eve joins the fray, and she's ready to risk it all for her baby daddy. Mark tries to intervene, but Conquest just breaks this nigga's funny bone and sets his sights on Eve next. She tries to trap him in this giant piece of bubble gum, but he simply claps his hand and it pops in an instant. Then Eve transforms into the Pink Ranger and starts to go to work with this big ass mallet, but Conquest isn't having it, and he breaks through it almost effortlessly. Then he rushes towards Eve, who tries to summon these booty ass Tetris blocks like that was really gonna stop something, and she traps him in a bubble and starts to go ham with all types of weapons and artillery she makes out of thin air, ready to send this nigga straight to the grave. And at first, it was looking like she was actually putting in work and holding her own, giving Mark the chance to breathe. But when she goes in for the final blow, Conquest shuts that shit down instantly without even bothering to flinch. Then he breaks Eve down brick by brick, leaving her wide open to probably the deadliest attack in all of Invincible. He literally punches her jaw off and goes in to penetrate her guts bare-handed. And then to make matters even worse, he goes in and says,
"Damn, shawty, you fine up close. What a goddamn waste."
And drops her body off to Mark with her large intestines hanging out. Nigga, at that point, kill me. And the worst part of all this is, Eve is still alive and conscious. He left her alive on purpose just so her and Mark could suffer. And the nigga has the audacity to lick Eve's blood off of his arm like a lion that just finished devouring its prey. I don't care what anybody says. This nigga is probably the most unhinged in all of Invincible. If my op smokes my baby mama and starts licking her blood in pure satisfaction, yeah, I'm packing it up, my nigga. But when Mark is finally starting to reach his breaking point, we get one of the coldest lines in all of Invincible history.
I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how fast you are. I can see the future. You don't live to see tomorrow.
Time to lock in. Mark and Conquest go in for one last colossal clash, breaking through the sound barrier, causing Mark's arm to break and Conquest's Infinity Gauntlet to finally be destroyed. And Mark sucker punches the shit out of him before trying to box with only one hand and getting caught in a bear hug that's tighter than an Asian girl's family. Conquest thinks he has the upper hand, but Mark takes a bite out of crime, tearing into this nigga's shoulder meat and forcing him to let Mark go. And while he's steadily driving this nigga straight into the dirt, Eve is brought back to life with Monster Reborn, causing Mark to become distracted and give Conquest a chance to throw a Uno reverse card and whisper this in his ear.
Hey, how you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in your ear. Tell you something that you might like to hear. Got a sex ass body and your ass looks soft.
And he chokes the life out of Mark, handing him a one-way ticket straight to hell. But Eve says, chill out with all the gay shit, and proceeds to fire a fucking Kamehameha, frying this nigga like the last piece of chicken and saving her baby daddy in the process. But ain't cracking. He squares up for another round after having his body thrown in hot grease, and Mark delivers with a punch straight to his dome for one last beatdown. And even though still has some fight left in him and break Mark's other arm, Mark shows us how much of a dog he's become and uses his head to start hammering at this nigga's skull like he's trying to paint the town red, and delivers the final blow in the most brutal way possible. And in the case of Invincible versus Conquest, Invincible wins. This fight, my nigga, is peak boxing in Invincible. What a crazy way to end off season 3. Every episode just got better and better leading up to the season finale of Mark vs. Conquest, the diddiest Viltrumite in history. This fight has got me hella excited for season 4, but you guys let me know what was your favorite part of season 3 in the comments down below. I got more videos on the way, but y'all keep it locked in till then. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another upload, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. Invincible Season 3, straight peak. I'm out. Peace.